One of the most iconic and well-known creatures in the fantasy and horror genres is, of course, the werewolf, also known as Lycanthropes. Let's talk about those. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner, and welcome back to the Daily D20, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games helping you build your world and master your game. If you like the content on this channel, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload new videos every day. Lycanthropes are technically werewolves. We all know werewolves from fantasy and horror. It's just a werewolf. But Dungeons & Dragons took that one step further when creating their Lycanthrope monster class, because they didn't just say, oh, these are werewolves, but they said these are going to be humanoids combined with any other animal that wants to exist. Not only that, but the idea of lycanthropy is actually, it's a curse. It's not just a condition of one type of animal, but it's a curse that infects humanoids through biting or wounding. We're going to get into that a little bit later about how this is spread, but it affects humanoids to have them connect with some sort of bestial nature that they struggle to control, which can also give them a physical change that can turn them into the animal that they are connected to, or a hybrid version of that animal, such as we know, the humanoid body with a wolf head or something like that is the hybrid version. But lycanthropes come in a bunch of different types and a bunch of different shapes and sizes in the Dungeons & Dragons world, so we're going to talk about a couple of these and kind of spark your creativity on how you can use lycanthropes in your tabletop gaming sessions. Like I briefly mentioned, lycanthropy is a curse that's passed on to humanoids, and this means it could be any type of humanoid, and it doesn't have to stick with a humanoid. You could do humans, elves, dwarves, dragonborn, tabaxi, you have all the humanoid types, but in the manuals it does explain different ways you can incorporate this lycanthropy into non-humanoid creatures. But the curse of lycanthropy in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition can be passed on through wounding or biting, and as well as someone being born from lycanthrope parents. The reason I say wounding or biting, it's because different types of lycanthropes, be it the werebear or the wereboar, can pass the infection on in different ways. Where the wereboar can gore something with their tusks and pass the infection on that way, the werebear tends to not bite people to avoid spreading the infection through their bite. But the book itself does say wounded by a lycanthrope will pass on the curse, so it seems to me that you can kind of get that curse just from any injury from another lycanthrope. So I guess I'm going to leave that to your discretion. In my games, I would probably stick with just the bite or just something that has to do with a blood or saliva transfer, but that's entirely up to you as the game master. Can this lycanthrope curse be removed? Well, of course. If it's something that's been passed on from one lycanthrope to another through a wounding, it could be removed with a remove curse spell. But it does state specifically if it is a lycanthrope that was born that way, or from lycanthrope parents, then it can only be removed with a wish spell, which is a very powerful spell in D&D. When a character or a person or a creature becomes a lycanthrope, there are two main ways they can react. They can reject or resist the curse, or they can embrace and try to control the curse. And taking one of these two routes will create vastly different lycanthropes depending on their attitude towards it. The resisting the curse type lycanthrope will be someone who will tend to go about their day-to-day lives. They will fight against the curse. They will tend to not give in to the bloodlust that is there. And they'll live a normal life, except when it's a full moon, when the curse will become uncontrollable. It's kind of an uncontrollable urge, like a sneeze. It's basically they sneeze for a night, turn into a wolf or a bear or something, go around, cause a ton of damage, and then in the morning they regain control. Do they remember what they did in the night before? They could, but more often than not, they just have dreams and remember through dreams. Now, if someone gets the curse and they decide they want to embrace the curse and use it as their own, they have a higher chance of being able to actually control it. And these are the type of people that will often be able to transform at will into either the animal or hybrid form of their creature. But the downside of this is they give in to the bloodlust a lot more, they give in to the bestial nature of the curse a lot more, and oftentimes they wind up becoming evil because they've given in to the bloodlust and the curse so often. Now, the way that the characters approach the curse can drastically change your tabletop gaming. If it is a player character that has a curse, that is a big decision they have to make of how they want to approach being a lycanthrope. And for both the players and the GM, deciding how you want to approach this can make for some very compelling storytelling moments, some very interesting gameplay, and some very interesting side quests if the adventure party would like to remove the curse from their adventure companion. So that just makes for some really fun gameplay and some really fun content for your story. Now, in the Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual, there are outlined several different types of were creatures that we can go over, but they also do say the Lycanthrope is not just limited to the ones listed, but you can also come up with more of your own. So we're going to go over the ones listed a little bit, and then we're going to just talk about some ideas of other ones. Of course, first up is the werewolf. They tend to be a savage predator that also has kind of a short temper, a very hot temper that tends to take control and give in to the bloodlust of the curse. But at the same time, they also tend to leave civilization for either the fear of what they might do to their loved ones, or the fear of being found out. If they are more of an evil-aligned kind of character, they will leave civilization in order to stay safe from society or to keep society safe from them. But this will also sometimes lead them to form packs in the woods with other wolves and dire wolves, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about, a werewolf becoming maybe an alpha pack member of a wolf pack. The Wereboar is another stocky, muscular type creature that tends to gore and gouge things indiscriminately when in the animal or hybrid form, and that is how they pass on the curse to others. They actually enjoy passing the curse on to other people because it gives them joy seeing other people having to struggle with the bloodlust just like they are. The Wereboar will often form small family groups and live kind of on the outskirts of town, not really trusting people, not going near humans as much, but sometimes they will form tentative alliances with orcs depending on where they are and how many orcs are in the area. So that could also be kind of a fun thing. Maybe a Wereboar has taken over a tribe of orcs and is using that to spread the were curse to other people. The Wererat is more of the urban lycanthrope. They tend to be found in catacombs and sewers in urban locations or large cities. They are cunning and greedy creatures that tend to form clans that are similar to Thieves' Guild. They're very organized. Wererats tend to lean in towards agile attacks, very high speed, using daggers and stuff like that. But in general, they don't really care about passing the curse on to people. They just want to live and let live as long as they make their money and have a comfortable life. The Weretiger is a really interesting concept that they came up with, where it is a creature that is a hunter and it's very competitive and territorial by nature. And in animal and hybrid form, they are massive creatures. But for some reason, they tend to fight and do combat in their human form. Of course, their human form is a little heightened. It's a little better than the average human in terms of combat prowess because of the bestial nature of the Weretiger, but they also will not take any effort to pass the curse on to others because, well, that's just more competition over the territory and the hunting grounds, and they really just don't want to compete with a ton of other Weretigers, so they keep the curse to themselves and just become the best hunters and the best fighters they can. The Werebear is something I really like. I remember playing as a Werebear or a druid in Diablo 2, and you could turn into a bear, kind of a Werebear at some point, which was really fun. But the Werebears tend to be more loners by nature. They don't want to pass the curse on to others because they don't really enjoy it themselves. But when they do, and they do sometimes, it's for a good reason. It's if they have a companion or an apprentice that they're trying to help, they might pass the curse on to help that person, and then they will stick around and help that person learn to control the curse and master it. Werebears are generally of a good alignment, though of course, like all of these, there can be good and evil. And really, I just think Werebears are just kind of the more noble of the were creatures listed in the book. That's how it seemed to me. They just seem more, nature-loving, trying to live their lives and be let alone. So those 5 are the ones that are actually listed in the Monster Manual of Dungeons & Dragons, but they do mention you can do were creatures of all other types. I've seen pictures of were sharks, which I think are cool. You could have a were badger possibly, or even a were parrot. Think about ways you could use that in your Dungeons & Dragons games. If you don't want to go with the 5 standard were creatures, what else would you do? Let me know in the comments below what kind of animal would make the ultimate lycanthrope for your Dungeons & Dragons or any other tabletop game, in your opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think of that. If you like this video, of course, go ahead and hit the like button, and if you like what's on the channel, as always, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I'm uploading new videos every day, and you gotta know when that happens. And well, Game Masters, I hope you've enjoyed this video about Lycanthropes and the curse that it is in Dungeons & Dragons. As always, I've been Richard Quiner. Thank you for watching.